Karen HOA's sneer could curdle milk from a mile away. She stood on her pristine lawn, arms folded like a dictator guarding her empire. As I hauled my first box into my new home, the neighborhood was quiet, save for the hum of her voice barking complaints into her phone. "They're trespassing," she spat, her words dripping with venom, as if my moving truck was a personal assault on her manicured existence. I'd barely set foot in Meadowbrook Estates. And already, Karen, the HOA's self-appointed queen, had declared war. It was my first day in the neighborhood, a fresh start after years of scraping by in a cramped apartment. My girlfriend, Lila, and I had saved every penny for this house, a modest two-bedroom with a sagging porch, but a backyard big enough for dreams. We were unloading boxes, laughing about the chipped mugs we couldn't bear to throw out, when Karen stormed over. Her floral moo-moo billowed like a battle flag, and her eyes narrowed as she sized us up. "You didn't get my approval to move in," she said, her voice loud enough to wake the dead. "This is my neighborhood." I tried to stay calm. "We signed the papers, ma'am. The house is ours." But Karen wasn't hearing it. She jabbed a finger at the moving truck, then at the stack of boxes on the curb. "You're breaking HOA rules. That truck's too big, and those boxes are an eyesore." Lila, ever the peacemaker, offered a smile. "We'll be done by tonight. Promise." Karen's lip curled. "Not good enough." She whipped out her phone, dialed 911, and within minutes, 2 police officers rolled up. The officers, a young rookie named Officer Daniels and a grizzled veteran named Officer Ruiz, looked like they'd rather be anywhere else. Karen launched into a tirade, claiming we were suspicious characters and violating property codes. I stood there, dumbfounded, as she painted us as criminals for daring to move in. Lila whispered, "Is this actually happening?" I could only nod, my stomach churning. The neighbors peeked from behind curtains, their curiosity as sharp as Karen's tongue. Daniel scribbled notes, his face neutral, while Ruiz raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, moving isn't a crime," he said. Karen's face reddened. "You don't understand. They're ruining the aesthetic. I'm the HOA president." Ruiz sighed, clearly used to her theatrics. He turned to me. "You got your deed." I handed over the paperwork, my hands shaking slightly. He scanned it, nodded, and handed it back. "Looks legit. You're fine." But Karen wasn't done. She stomped her foot, her voice rising to a screech. "I demand you arrest them. They're lowering property values." The officers exchanged a glance, and I could have sworn Ruiz rolled his eyes. Daniels, trying to keep the peace, suggested we move the truck to the side of the road. We agreed, eager to end the spectacle. But Karen followed us, pointing out every perceived infraction: a box too close to the curb, a scratch on the driveway, even Lila's sneakers, which she called tacky. I was ready to lose it. Years of saving, of dreaming about this moment. And here was this woman, puffed up with self-importance, trying to ruin it. Lila squeezed my hand, grounding me. "Let's just get through this," she murmured. But Karen's voice carried on, a relentless assault. "I'll have you fined. I'll have you evicted," she shouted, as if her word was law. Then, a new car pulled up, a sleek black SUV with tinted windows. The door opened, and out stepped a man in a crisp police uniform, his badge glinting under the streetlights. The air shifted. Even Karen paused, her mouth half open. The man was tall, with graying hair and an easy confidence. "Evening, folks," he said, his voice calm but commanding. "I'm Chief Harper." Karen's eyes lit up, sensing an ally. She rushed toward him, launching into her litany of complaints. "Chief, thank God you're here. These people are destroying our neighborhood." Harper listened, his expression unreadable, then held up a hand. "Let's slow down. Karen." Her name hung in the air, sharp and deliberate. She froze, clearly unused to being addressed so casually. Harper turned to me. "You must be Marcus." I blinked, caught off guard. "Yes, sir." He smiled, warm and genuine. "Heard you were moving in. Welcome to Meadowbrook." I stammered a thank you, confused. How did he know my name? Lila nudged me, equally baffled. Harper glanced at the officers. "Daniels. Ruiz. You're dismissed. I'll handle this." Karen sputtered. "But Chief." There, Harper cut her off. "Karen, I've got a file on my desk with your name on it. Noise complaints. False reports. Harassing neighbors. Want to add to it?" Her face paled, and for the first time, she looked small. The neighbor's curtains twitched again, and I caught a glimpse of a woman across the street giving a subtle thumbs up. Harper turned back to us. "Marcus. Lila. I owe you an apology. Karen's been a problem for a while." He lowered his voice, just enough for us to hear. "Her last stunt was calling us on a kid for chalk drawings. We're done indulging her." I couldn't help but laugh, a mix of relief and disbelief. Lila grinned, her shoulders relaxing. Karen's bravado crumbled. "You can't do this." She snapped, but her voice wavered. Harper raised an eyebrow. "Actually, I can. And I'm not just here as chief." He paused, letting the words sink in. "I'm your neighbor. Live 2 streets over. My wife baked you a pie to welcome you." He gestured to the SUV, where a woman waved from the passenger seat, holding a tin. The absurdity hit me like a wave. Karen had called the cops to stop us, only to have the police chief show up with a pie. I laughed again, louder this time, and Lila joined in. Karen's face twisted, a mix of fury and humiliation. "This isn't over," she hissed, storming back to her house. But no one was listening. The neighbors started to emerge, curious and emboldened. An older man approached, shaking his head. "She's been lording over us for years," he said. "About time someone stood up to her." Harper helped us move a few boxes, chatting like an old friend. He told us about the neighborhood, the good coffee shop down the road, the annual block party. "Karen's not the HOA," he said. "She's just loud. We'll sort her out." By the time he left, the neighbors had gathered, offering hands and smiles. The woman from across the street brought over lemonade. Another couple offered to help unpack. The air felt lighter, like the whole street had exhaled. That night, as Lila and I sat on our sagging porch, eating slices of Harper's wife's pie, we heard Karen's voice again. She was on her phone, ranting to someone about injustice. But it didn't matter. The neighborhood had spoken, and Karen's reign was cracking. We'd won, not just against her, but for the life we were building. The stars were out. The boxes were inside. And for the first time, Meadowbrook felt like home. The next week, the HOA held an emergency meeting. Karen was voted out as president, her complaints drowned out by a chorus of fed-up neighbors. She still glares at us from her lawn, But her power's gone. Every time I see her, I wave, just to see her scowl. Karma's a funny thing. Sometimes it shows up with a badge and a pie.